Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming. It means so much. This is DBR Lab Space 1. It's a facet of DBR Lab. This is my dear friend and co-teacher and collaborator of the course, Jeff McMahon, please. And in DBR Lab, we don't use the word teacher or student. We're all contributors to a classroom and a community and a world of ideas. So thank you for being here. It's a busy time. It's a stressful time. I think it's Giving Tuesday, right? So give if you haven't, but you're here, so that counts. But we really appreciate it because I think we've all been through a lot. And we're all still going through a lot. There's a lot that divides us. Right outside this door, tomorrow, as a matter of fact, will be a protest, right? There are protests happening online, and there are things that divide us on this campus. But I hope that tonight, over the course of what is about a 30 to 35-minute program, by extraordinary artists, not students, extraordinary artists who have been working so hard to create something so special for all of us. I hope that we can find a common space, a common ground. You know, this might be the last bastion of democracy where all voices can and should be heard. And I'm just so thankful to the contributors who will be performing for you tonight. Alejandro Bastian, Mackenzie Wilkins, aka Mickey Southpaw, Matthew Brill, Jory Elcura, and Nina Day, aka MF Bloom. Capturing the evening tonight is Keegan Carlson, who is a former lab member, and also who's not here with us tonight, actually not at Basel in Miami, is Melina Gross, who is the general manager and has been so important to the inception of the lab and its health and vitality moving forward. I wonder if you have a few words from Jeff.
Yeah, Melina is the person that sort of keeps us on schedule, in line, and from going on and on and on, right? So yeah, so thank you, Melina, out there in virtual space. We have 5 performances tonight, and some of them are works in progress, some of them are kind of like proofs of concept, will be developed into larger pieces. And stay afterwards if you like. We'll take a brief break. There'll be a what do you call them?
A post-performance.
Post-performance. We call them talkbacks in theater. We welcome you to come to that. It's only going to be 15 to 20 minutes. It's really helpful for the contributors to get some feedback from you. And let us begin.
Let us begin. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Standing at the edge of my desire, from where I can see the path I walked, but also an horizon, I remember. I open the window of my tent. I see another boy walking by, shirtless. The extension of his skin is the extent of my desire. Wait, but this is wrong. Wrong and powerful. I didn't know this could happen. This doesn't happen when I go to the movies or when I go to the school. So it must be a phase, a brief mistake in my heart. I will go on as if nothing has happened. I am sure they will not notice. It is something that I will only feel for today, at the age of 8. Tomorrow I will stop feeling that desire. You know what? Tonight, my last thought before I fall asleep is stop that desire. I am sitting in the kitchen of my house. My mom is preparing breakfast and asking me something. My dad glares at my mom and says, "Stop it! You're gonna turn him into a faggot!" I am right there, but my heart has learned long ago to hide in the nearest drawer. It is safer to be there. Every time he says that, I think, but I am a faggot? And I don't think it's her fault. Or is it? Yet I silence what I think or what I feel. I am used to that. So I say nothing. Then I keep on wondering, what if it's something I learned just watching telenovelas, or my mom made me like this? She has soft, wavy, long hair that I brush in the evenings when the house is quiet. She sits on the edge of her bed in front of a mirror. I am over the bed, just behind her. She doesn't look at me. She sees my reflection. It is one of those round brushes with a wooden handle. It's very pretty. But for me, it's like the key to her heart. She never had a daughter like she wanted. But I had her. Did you hear? You're gonna turn him into a faggot. I guess these things are made. I was not born like this. I was made. Hence, if I learn it, I will be able to undo it. All I need to do tonight is to believe more determined than last night that my desire will stop tomorrow. My desire. My heart has no home, no school. It is at night where I can feel its weight, and I search for videos on YouTube of guys kissing. Then I feel guilt. Guilt has no shape, but it has weight. Guilt hurts like pain. Guilt paralyzes like fear and slows me down like sadness. But above all, it's like consuming myself. I am consuming myself while I pretend that everything is in place. I am a child. But in the outside, I am like two children. One half is the good boy. I am gentle, I follow the rules, I respect my elders, I do my homework, and I don't get too angry. The other half is the queer child. I feel threatened and isolated. I renounce to myself, yet I love to accidentally walk on the boxer brief aisle at the department stores. A queer boy who will later on sneak out at 2 o'clock in the morning looking for a good piece of meat. My queer heart learns to take care of his desire. In the midst of fear and with no map, my queer heart nourishes his desire. I decide to continue. All the guilt in my life couldn't stop me, even if I barely see the sunlight or get a breath of fresh air. Maybe that is why I got asthma, because it was safer to be sick than to be me. From here, when the war against my desire is over, in this place where I can still feel the anxiety and the humiliation I went through, but I also know my story, I feel complete. The good boy and the queer child are finally here. From here, I thank you. Thanks to all the queer people that I have met everywhere. I know most of us lived strange childhoods. Our heart was like an alien from another planet that found no place on Earth. I know most of us grew up with the fear of never being fully accepted. But our queer hearts survived. Those years created a pain that will accompany for the rest of my life. And I don't think that is too bad. Because knowing that I can feel and remember my story lets me know that my childish queer heart was always there, holding me while in the closet, in the drawer, in the silent, dark streets, in the bathroom, in the bureau, feeling all that I couldn't stand. I can't go back to my childhood and tell me that everything is gonna be all right. But
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to my living room. I made you a modern version of a home video. Can you all see it?
Mm-hmm. today. But in my failure, I want to remember what I found. A new sensation. Proudly seated in my heart's throne. Where shame sat since birth. Last name, satisfaction. First name, self. They had a gentle smile. And sturdy legs.
me means not getting over the things that have caused you pain, but accepting them and learning to move on and learning from them and growing.
Just me, I know that, you know, if I have experienced like a painful or traumatic experience, I tend to just bottle it up. Healing is just a lot of self-awareness. Healing is allowing yourself to accept and love.
What it means to me is it's an ongoing process. It can be not specifically from like a traumatic event, and it's also just like self-care and realizing you know, who I am and having awareness. I think that's what healing is to me.
For me, spirit is like the innermost part of yourself. And it's the person that you already have in yourself. The older that you get and the more that you know, you get to grow and learn with that person. That's what spirit is to me.
Honestly, like, spirit is like good vibes. Like the vibes. Because I feel like if you want to talk to this to someone who's like Gen Z, spirit is something that somebody is either has good spirit, they have bad spirit, they have good intentions with their spirit, bad intentions with their spirit. I think it is just something that humans have, and it belongs to each and every one of us.
When I think of spirit, I think of like energy being harnessed. Like when I think of spirit, I think of like our spirits, and then like tarot, when you're like, oh, I'm talking to spirit right now. I think of spirit as just a collective energy, maybe pieces of our universe.
So the definition of body for me is our human body. It's the capsule that we're in, and your spirit is your higher self. And your higher self is not the voice that you hear in your head. It's like you being present and you just like really living life without any like expectations, but your body is the one that has those expectations. It's the one that has those voices, and it's the one that has those thoughts, and I think that the two together is what makes us human. So I feel like the body and the spirit heal together. So physically, I had an eating disorder since I was 12 years old, and I was physically hurting my body by restricting and not eating. And so, you know, my heart would pound and race, and it would feel like I would almost have like a heart attack. And at the same time, it's like what I said earlier, you know, the spirit and the body are connected, and so spiritually I was dying. Like, it was like almost as if I was killing my spirit, and to the point where she was almost gone.
So it's codependent. If you want to heal your soul, you've got to do physical things, because what brings you joy inside, you can do that physically. Like for me, like I like music, I like dancing. If I'm feeling like I don't want to get up, but I literally don't feel like doing a single thing. I have so much homework and I'm so behind, and deep down in me I'm like stressing because I'm like, why can't I do anything? Like, you know what? There's one thing I can do, and it's dance. And that goes for anything. Like, it might be painting, maybe reading, maybe your thing is gardening, maybe your thing is thrifting. That's just one thing to get you up, get you out, looking at clothes. Now you're physically walking, you're out, you're looking at things, you're not in your, like, the space that you're always in, and now your soul's a little happy.
discussion. We understand, and this is a pause for you to leave or linger. Take your chance. But we're going to take just a couple minutes, and we're going to have all the artists back on the stage. So
Daniel, let's just remind them who the artists were.
Yes, yes.
So the first piece was Alejandro Sebastian.
Yes, Alejandro.
Bastian.
Yes.
The second piece, the video piece over there, was Mickey Southpaw or Mackenzie Wilkins. The guitar piece was Matthew Grill. Yes. And Joriel Cura did the centerpiece with the documentary piece. And last was Nina Dang, also known as MF Gloom.
Also accompanied by Mark on bass and Aisha on drums. So just a brief pause, and then we're going to go right into a PPD. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was sitting there, but you can sit there.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. Usually what I'd like to say is you should always have a question, you should always have a comment. Both are important. But just to attach names and everything, Nina Dang on the end. Matthew Brill. Mackenzie Wilkins. A.K.A. Mickey Southpaw. Alejandro Bastian. And Joriel Cura. So, this is your time. Any questions or comments you have for any of the artists? What are you thinking? Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I have a question. Being new to the campus and this class, I'm curious to know what your process was in creating the pieces you shared today.
Oh, let's start with Alejandro. What was your process in creating your piece?
I think I wrote like 30 pages at some point, and the real challenge was to make a 10-minute piece. So it was a great challenge, and then it was just knowing, I think the class gave us a lot of the structure in the sense that we were gonna see your job in 2 weeks, so you better be working. So I think the work was a lot of editing at the beginning, and then just action, yes, and then a lot of directing from Jeff until Jeff.
Mackenzie, what was your process?
So I wanted to pick something to have just like kind of an indication of what I most enjoy, and that is just being goofy, I guess. And I kind of realized how much fun I was just having with my pets lately. And, you know, during quarantine, we all forgot how to socialize. So I started just making up characters to talk to. And that's what I had around. And so they all had names already. So they started getting voices. And rabbits are a lot more like humans than you might guess, and their attitudes and their social dynamics. And so I was just like, you know, really all they need now are just books. And the Pomeranian already has more sass than any human I've met, so I was like, all we need is a camera now. So.
Matthew?
So for me, it was kind of like a lot of brainstorming. I honestly didn't have any idea what I wanted to do when I started the project, so it's kind of a lot of like journaling, brainstorming, talking to Jeff and Daniel for advice, as well as the other contributors in the class. The words, I basically kind of settled on this idea that I wanted to do something that was combining like spoken word and plain, so that was something I wanted to do just because it's something I hadn't really explored doing before on stage. I've always kind of been doing like instrumental stuff. And the words weren't actually mine. They were from a poem that my cousin Aaron Petrie wrote called Failure. It's in a book he published this past year called Bleed. And so I got his permission if I could use one of his poems as part of like a composition I made. And so that's kind of like, once I had the poems picked, or like that poem picked, I kind of like ran with the idea, and it was just a matter of like brainstorming on the guitar and getting basically like getting something that fits the tone of the poem, basically.
Nina?
So even before enrolling in the class, I knew that I wanted to create an album for the school year, and it just so happened that I like got a random email from somebody I don't know about an opening about this class, and I was like, oh wow, this is a class where I get to actually like sit down and make a project. Okay, cool. And then through the class, I was able to meet all these wonderful contributors, and some of them even, as you saw, ended up joining my band. So it was really fun to like collaborate and bounce ideas off of each other. But yeah, that was basically the process.
Awesome. And Joriel?
Yeah, so process. A lot of experimenting, a lot of trying new things with, on the technical side, with camera, lighting. Just wanted to try a lot of new things and just throw a lot of ideas on the wall and see what sticks, basically. And the main thing that was really important to me when creating this short piece was keeping it very organic, as I was exploring the concept of healing and the spirit and the body, and interviewing these individuals. I just wanted to make sure everything was very organic and personal. And just like as a note, this piece kind of served as research for another, a larger short film that I'm creating, also the same name of Blueprint of You. And so that also explores the theme of healing and body and spirit. And so, yeah, that's the process for me.
Other questions? Comments? Thoughts?
Daniel, I was wondering if it would be helpful, just because we don't have the bios, if everybody, maybe from Joriel, then would just say, graduate, undergraduate, what program you're majoring in, if you want to just give a little more context.
Yes, can you give us your 1-minute bio?
Yeah, so I'm a film and media production major here at ASU. I'm a senior, and this will be my last year working on my capstone project for school, and that's what the other film is about, and yeah, that's me.
I studied a master's in theater for youth and communities, and I like to do community theater where people can tell their story and performers can resonate that story. And I guess this is my story, resonated by myself. So that's it, yeah.
Right on. So I am in my senior year with a Bachelor in Theater Design, and looking forward to grad school, just not which program yet.
So I'm a music performance major. I'm a senior finishing my undergraduate, and basically just have, after the semester, I just have to do one last recital in the spring, and then I'm all done. And then it's on to grad school or who knows what else.
I am pursuing a bachelor's in digital culture with a focus in music. I'm technically a junior, so I've got one more semester and then a year left to go. But yeah, I basically started doing music when I was a kid, and then I kind of stopped doing that for a little bit. But during the start of the pandemic, that's when I really started to like fall in love with making music again, and so that drove me to re-enroll back in school and pursue an education in music.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I have a question for Alejandro, because you said that this started out 30 pages and you edited down to 10, right? Do you plan to perform the 30-page version?
I don't know. I want to. I don't know if I will do it. Maybe yes, maybe I don't.
What would stop you from doing it if you want to do it?
So my applied project will be a playback theater troupe and performances with queer community. So I think I will focus my next year on doing that project if possible and not rehearsing this piece. Or maybe I will do both, who knows?
I vote for both.
30 minutes, 30 minutes,
I want to see 30 minutes of this.
Other thoughts? Yeah? Yes, please.
I thought I heard each of you say that you really enjoyed being in a lab with people from a lot of different disciplines. Could you talk a little bit about what you might have learned from each other?
Okay. Nina?
It's really nice, because like I mentioned earlier, it's really nice to, it's one thing to make music by yourself. Like I describe myself as like a one-man band, but it's kind of hard to play by yourself and do all the instruments. So it's nice to have other people there to support you and bounce ideas off of and get like a new perspective, especially since most of my music education is from when I was a child. So I have like the motor skills, but not like the technical like terminology. And Matt here, one of the people in my band, he's he basically classical guitar. He knows how to read everything, and he knows all the terms. So I'm just like, okay, what note is this? And I'll play something, and he'll be like, it's that. I'm like, all right, cool, sick. So it's been really helpful for situations like that, just to like have people with different like expertise and make something beautiful out of it.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, we'll come back. Joriel, Matthew?
So I guess one of the things I learned since I was doing like spoken word, it was inspiring watching Alejandro and just like seeing what someone who actually like does that specifically as part of their craft, like that was really like inspiring. And like what I did, it wasn't nearly as like in depth in the spoken word aspect as what Alejandro did, but it was definitely like it made you like feel more excited to do it, because it is like easy if you're used to like just being silent on stage to feel a little self-conscious. And then working with Nina has just been really fun, just because I'm used to like the classical world, and it's like sometimes stuff in the classical world, it can just feel very like, I don't want to say like mechanical, but it feels very formal. And so playing popular music, it's like so much more fun because it feels a little bit more like, it feels like you can be a little bit more yourself rather than like putting on this very like formal, like mannered like presentation of yourself.
Yes, I agree with that. Joriel?
Yeah, it was just really exciting and really energizing to be in a room of people, of makers, of people who are trying to make and create something. So that was really energizing. And yeah, it was really cool to also just jam out after class sometimes. On Tuesdays, we would sometimes go to Nina's house and just play music. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think the lab's always been a place of discovery. You know, we don't want or need all the answers. In fact, I think it's about asking questions and what are the possibilities for space between us, conversation. The pandemic was hard. This is the first class coming back after it. And, you know, it's, I really applaud every contributor here for not only creating their own work, but being really curious about the process. I'm professor here. I'm a composer and violinist. Jeff is a wonderful actor and writer. So by definition, the lab is conversational and curious. And it's hard to do sometimes at any university, especially one that's as sprawling as this one. But I think it's wonderful that the lab is continuing on. And in the spring, we annually go to New York City, National Sawdust, and continue a deepening of the projects. So that's been the tradition of the lab, and hopefully that's going to happen in the spring. Other questions or comments, thoughts? What's on your mind? Yes, please.
Sorry, don't mean to dominate, but I have a question. I was curious with your piece. Did you have a particular audience in mind, or particularly something that you were hoping, a particular impact that you had in mind for the audience as well?
That's a good question. I don't think I really had a specific target audience. I think I want it to be very universal, very relatable to anybody. I think with the interviewees that I selected, I think then that might have kind of skewed it a little bit just because it was a younger demographic. But like if I were to redo it, then I would definitely want to have a range of people. And what's the second part of your question?
Was there a particular impact that you were hoping for the audience, or was it more like to see how it happened?
Yeah, I didn't want to like tell people how to heal or anything like that. I wanted to just portray their personal stories and personal perspectives on it, and then have audiences just take what they want from it.
Actually, I'll come back to Mark. Yes.
I was wondering, this question goes to any of you who want to take it. Are any of you guys, like in this presentation, did you continue a prior project, or are you guys also planning on expanding on what you did in this presentation in another later project? Just curious.
Great question. Sure, Kenzie?
Oh yeah, I had an entire series, a lot of episodes written out, and Jeff was like, okay, Mackenzie, chill. This is gonna be less than 10 minutes. I was like, oh, right. But seriously, I mean, I might try to package something up and sell it. Just I don't know, maybe some small, I don't know. I had some idea to I mean, these days, at first the idea, it was animated, but based off of my real pets. But I don't know how to do animation. I was trying to do a Snapchat filter at first, but I got some feedback from my classmates that it was just not, the image wasn't clear enough. So I was like, yeah, you're probably right. But I was trying to write it in such a way that it was it could be funny for kids, just because a lot of things based on animals tend to be kind of more for children audiences, but kind of intellectual enough that adults might be kind of huh, that's interesting. Because in my opinion, I listened to and watched, I just kind of overhear kind of the stuff that my nieces watch, little toddlers, and I'm like, this is making kids this is just so stupid. I'm just losing brain cells listening to this. I'm just the pig says what? Oh, the pig. And I'm just play something that's intelligent. I'm just you know what I mean? It doesn't but then also it doesn't have to be too vanilla to be G-rated. You know what I mean? So I was trying to put together something that's somewhere in the middle. I was trying not to put too much foul language and stuff, but still just oh, he's wrestling with his faith, rips a Bible, just, so I might develop that into something a little mini series, maybe even a whole hour's worth of something, and just try to have something to send off to, something to maybe try to get something, I don't know, but I hope that answered your question. Was that what you're looking for? Anyone else?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Is anybody, well, all the projects started in this lab, or do they, no, Nina, you're saying no, yeah?
Mine started a little bit before I enrolled back at ASU. I created 2 songs. Like, I knew I was going to go back to school, and since I'm basically studying like audio production and sound design, I made 2 songs prior to that, kind of as like a warm-up, I guess, to get myself ready for it. And when I signed up for this class, I was like, okay, so now I should probably come up with like a concept for the album. And I realized that the songs I had made were actually kind of related to different topics that I had been exploring in therapy. I started therapy like back in March. So basically the album is just expanding upon like different facets and aspects of myself, like as a queer person, as a person of color, as someone who lives in a city where gentrification is happening, just different topics that have been like on my mind and what I've been, talking with my therapist. So that's, but to answer your question, no, I started it before this class.
I think we have one more question right here.
Oh, no, it was answered.
Oh, it's answered. Okay, we have time for one more question.
Well,
yes, please.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to just say that I really enjoy the vibes. How, I don't know, that sounds kind of weird. But anyway, I enjoy the fact that there was different disciplines represented.
Yes.
It's like, it seems like a really productive, cool place to hang out,
Oh,
So.
well, you're giving us an idea. Yeah. I think maybe the next iteration might be more clubby. Food, something to drink.
A little cigar.
Yes, please.
I think I would love to hear if you guys have anything you would like to plug or where we can follow you in your work, especially musicians. That would be maybe.
Love that. Yes. What's next? Plug. Yeah. Websites? Websites? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I have a social media Instagram page for my film, Blueprint of You.
Blueprint of You?
Yeah, Blueprint of You film.
Oh, cool.
Oh, Blueprint of You film. And then Nina, MF Bloom.
Oh yeah, so this is actually kind of a preview for what's happening this Friday. The art magazine that ASU Barrett runs, Normal Noise, they will be hosting a little launch party for their semester issue where me and the band, we're going to be playing some more songs from the album. Yeah, it'll be really exciting. So, and my Instagram and like any social media is MF Gloom Music. But yeah, if you guys are free, would love to see you there. It'll be really fun.
Gloom with the G, right?
Yes.
Like a gloomy day?
Yeah, like it's inspired by the late rapper MF Doom, but I don't rap, unfortunately.
You could if you wanted to. I think it'd be great.
That'd be pretty fun.
Any other websites?
My Instagram is Mickey_Southpaw. Unfortunately, I do rap. I write a lot of satire. Like it's rap that it's like, oh my God, is she actually saying that on purpose, or is that like she would mean what she's saying? I usually don't. It's MICKIE_Southpaw, like a boxer. Yeah, IE at the end of Mickey, because like that's kind of like the way my name is spelled. So, thank you for the following support. I'll try to check out your stuff too. MICKIE_Southpaw. So, thank you.
Many aspects of tonight's performance. You saw the DBR Lab. There's a DBR Lab Instagram page. If you just Google search DBR Lab, there's a couple different social media sites that come up, and their work will be supported there. And you'll find connective links to all the contributors' work, both past and present.
Oh, Hunter, did you mention you have one?
I don't.
You don't? Okay.
Mine is Borin. This is my first name and my last name at Instagram. So Matthew Brill, BRIEHL. This is my Instagram. I have like music stuff or just like updates about what I'm doing.
Daniel and Molina are really wonderful in sort of tracking our contributors over the years. So it's kind of an archive almost of the work. For example, Keegan, who's shooting tonight,
right now, in real
gone on
time.
to an amazing career.
Thank you, Keegan. Thank you.
So if you go to the DBR site, there's a lot of connections with past contributors, and I think will probably be updated to keep current contributors.
Yes, that's a really good point. So if you just Google search DBR, you will find DBR Lab, and on that website you will find what we call living headshots. These are 1-minute short films that have been shot by Keegan, and Joriel just did one as well. In the works. But Keegan has created really living headshots for all the contributors that are really remarkable. They are vignettes of personality and process and work and soul. And not to plug too much, but you know, the living headshots have a utility that I'm so happy to see being used. One of the former contributors just last year, Michelle DeRusso, created a living headshot. It's a young woman from Argentina who was a remarkable conductor. Graduated during the pandemic, and we had many conversations both in and outside of the lab of what happens next. And all the tropes of the difficulty, that chasm between an academic life and professional dreams was exacerbated, I think, by the pandemic. And it was a very difficult time for her and for a lot of young artists at that time. But using the living headshots, using some of the skills found in the lab, being lovingly aggressive and confident. She is now the assistant conductor of the North Carolina Symphony and director of orchestras at Cornell University, and has got management through Young Concert Artists Guild. Right? So within a year, she has a really important career and is doing many things, new things in classical music. She did a bilingual version of Peter and the Wolf, matter of fact. For, as you can imagine, you were talking about gentrification, Nina. Well, North Carolina, that triangle, Raleigh, so on and so forth, is, like a lot of places in America, changing. So, you know, just looking at us right now, this isn't the world, but this is the world I would love to be in. You know, the work is diverse, the people are diverse, wonderfully so. And I think that the lab aspires to hope and heal and bring us together. You know, there will be a rally here tomorrow. Like a lot of places, I think Arizona, Tempe, is caught in a conversation where I don't know where it's going.
Wait, what's the protest? Sorry.
I'll tell you about it later.
With loving aggression, because I love that term. We promised them it would only be 15 minutes of tech cruise.
But suffice to say that I think that we are really glad that you were here tonight. The work was captured tonight. The work will live on, and I think that what is most important is how much we support and respect these important artists in our field who are moving our field, I think, forward in the best way.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.